Oh boy, everybody. We're gonna get straight into it. This is a lot to do. Let's begin.
You've heard the sound bites.
Go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
And if I can't sell them on, hey, don't do that, I can instill fear by suggesting that once it gets past us, someone else will take them down for this.
For years, Kim Belair and Sweet Baby Inc. called it branding. Cheeky, disruptive, harmless, right? But today, we're done pretending. Because now we have the receipts. A leaked clip from a real internal discussion where Sweet Baby Inc. didn't advise, they pushed again and again until the studio broke. This isn't narrative design, it's narrative domination. And this time, no spin can save them.
Will Sweet Baby Inc. ever learn? Nobody even knows.
It isn't out of context. This is Sweet Baby Inc. admitting on camera that they wore a game studio down on purpose. You know the quotes. Terrify your marketing team, instill fear. People said it was just Kim being spicy.
But this time, it's not Kim. It's Cameron Wild, Sweet Baby's narrative designer, Kim's ally, Kim's employee, and the same person who once said, "I'm here to burn it all down." Totally normal, healthy consulting energy, right?
But this time, it's not branding. It's not cheeky. In this leaked clip, Cameron admits to hammering a studio again and again and again until they caved.
Not persuaded, not enlightened, broken.
This isn't narrative guidance. This is brute force submission. And once you hear it, you'll realize this isn't an exception. It's the playbook.
Roll the clip.
Yeah, before we see that clip, think about it for a second. They're trying to burn the industry ground, or burn the gaming industry to the ground. This is what happens, guys. These people, they're not gamers. I wouldn't say non-gamers, okay? These people who hate gamers. That's the reason why they got into the industry. They want to erase gamers out of existence. Back in the day, we were just socially awkward. When we let people like Cameron Wild in, guess what? They try to tear everything down. Can you blame any gamers who are now going out of their way to just vote? Because they would rather vote anybody as long as the gaming or the video game industry remains a nerd's hobby.
Definitely there have been moments. I can think of one in particular. Don't need to get into the specifics of the game, but it was a situation where the identity of the characters was fairly important that we get it right. And in this situation, we actually had to have a more heart-to-heart, really foundational conversation about these are some of the experiences that you are necessarily going to invoke, or some of the messages that you are going to invoke, some of the implications you are going to invoke, regardless of whether you want to or not. It's not a question of like, are you doing it well, or are you doing it badly? It's just, it's there. And so
Bullshit.
here are the options for how that could go. And this was a pretty, I would say, like unique situation where they were willing to take days out of their time to talk with us about it. And I think in that situation, it was, as a marginalized person, I felt making myself very vulnerable, and being brutally honest.
Okay, another BS. Seriously, you are the reason. You are the reason why many marginalized people are disliked even more. To the viewers here, if any of you who are either from blacks, Hispanic, Mexico, or even the LGBTQ community, do you approve this behavior? Tell me in the comments.
Like, hey, I think what you're doing is not cool. And then being met with a less than optimal response to that, and then having to say it again, and then again and again. What I would take out of that, what I have taken out of that in hindsight, is know where your personal and professional limit is. Choose your battles. Decide as much as you can which hills you're willing to die on, and which, maybe you would rather not. I think that really will serve you well, and get very specific about your priorities. Be willing to let certain things go, maybe, but that comes with experience. That's not something that I knew in the moment. I think in hindsight, I will say I wish I had been a little less vulnerable. And so that is a very valuable piece of information that I now have about myself.
Okay, here, before that, does anybody who are from these marginalized groups, do you approve this kind of behavior from Cameron Wild? I can bet 100% any of you who are watching this, you don't approve what he's doing, what Cameron Wild is doing. I think this is the reason why people of all backgrounds love gaming. It's how we got together. However, when people like Cameron Wild or Sweet Baby Inc. enters the fray, they try to tear everything down. They didn't think, or perhaps they didn't know, that diversity was there since day one. They just create problems where there isn't.
Break this down. That wasn't hyperbole. That wasn't a joke. That wasn't taken out of context.
That was Cameron Wild describing how they kept pressing a studio again and again and again until the studio gave up.
They didn't collaborate. They didn't find middle ground. The studio just surrendered.
They even said the first response was less than optimal. So instead of respecting that, they went harder.
And when pushing didn't work fast enough, they got emotional, not to connect, but to guilt, to manipulate.
Then Cameron said, I wish I had been less vulnerable. Not because they went too far, but because they resent needing to.
They didn't want dialogue, they wanted obedience, and they were pissed it took effort to get it.
And then came the kicker. People need to be willing to let things go. But they weren't talking about themselves, they were talking about the devs.
So let's call this what it is. Sweet Baby Inc. says they're collaborators. But when studios push back, they pressure, they push, and they break you down.
And now they've admitted it. In their own words, no spin, no plausible deniability.
So the next time Sweet Baby Inc. smiles at the camera and says,
I'm the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., which, contrary to popular belief, is not a DEI company, but a narrative development company.
remember this moment.
Because what they call help was emotional pressure. It was brute force narrative control. It was breaking down the developers until they gave in.
See that? There you have it. To all you who think people like us are grifters or anything, there's your proof. They threatened a developer. Seriously, why do people are blindsided by this? And I'm so proud that the East didn't cave in. Well, except Japan, of course. China and South Korea, they remain intact. And I'm proud because right now, guess what? We have a Chinese Resident Evil, and now we have an Indonesian Resident Evil. And I do mean version, okay? And not only that, the East is like a massive wall that many of these woke consultancy firms cannot take a hold. They cannot infiltrate. And because of the laws within those countries, let's say, for example, China. You can't expect China to adhere to these wokies, like, for example, to promote LGBT in their games. Their laws forbid them. And if you read the title, even though it's a lot of rant, I would say this is Sweet Baby Inc. is 300% cooked. They will be 1000% if Sweet Baby Inc. is shut down. Now, I'll leave God Therapy's full video link in the description. I don't know when I will post this, so probably it depends. It's probably gonna be the day after tomorrow or maybe earlier. We'll see what happens.
Where I belong.
Down to 30 seconds.
Good night. Hit the gas, hero. Time's burning out.
Another epic victory. Big
Leave a like and subscribe if you want gaming news, gaming theories, or you just want to see me play games, or perhaps you like trending topics. Visit my first, third, and fourth channel up here or link in the description. And I will never forget this moment. Whatever happens, we will always remember this moment.